I've got another question here from JC Holland. He says, when you left Kiss, did you have any offers to join other bands that you turned down?
No, I didn't have any other offers. My plans were to start my own band, and that ended up being Frehley's Comet. And that first Frehley's Comet album went gold, and did very well. But, after a couple of those records, I was living in Manhattan. I had separated from my wife, and I was living on the 43rd floor of a high rise on the west side of Manhattan. And when I was in Florida, I had met this fashion model because we were staying at this hotel, and these 4 fashion models were doing a fashion shoot by the pool. So I'm sitting there with Todd Howarth, my other guitar player, and I said, we got to invite these chicks to the show. So we gave them tickets. All 4 of them ended up coming to the concert, and we had a great time. They came back to the hotel. I ended up with a beautiful blonde. She took me to her room, and it was magical. And then, ironically, I said to her, where do you live? She goes, I live on 67th Street in New York City. I go, where? She goes, a half a block from Central Park. I go, well, I live 4 blocks from Central Park on 67th Street. So in my mind, I said, this must be, serendipity. Maybe I'm meant to be with this chick, even though she was only 18 years old and I was 37. So we dated for a couple of weeks, and then I just said to her, look, why don't you just move in with me? And she moved in with me for about 9 months, and unfortunately, I would have to leave to go on tour. And I trusted her in the apartment alone. And but when I got back, I heard from friends, I heard that she was dabbling with heroin. Okay. So she ended up, getting involved with the wrong kind of people. So, by the end of that year, I asked her, I broke up with her, and for a while, she didn't know what to do. She was only 18, 19. So I put her up in a hotel for a couple of months, and then eventually she ended up going back to Texas, where she was from, Austin, Texas. And she married her high school sweetheart and had a child.
All worked out okay in the end then. You mentioned Frehley's Comet there. I've got a question here from MCBK. He says, Rock Soldiers is one of my favorite songs. The line, if the devil wants to play his card game now, he's going to have to play without an ace in his deck. He says it's one of the best delivered lines in rock. Given that song was about your own personal troubles, was it a tough song to write and work on?
That was, like I said earlier in our conversation, I wrote that song with Chip Taylor. Yeah. And originally, it was going to be a strictly anti-drug song, and the chorus was originally, we were just going to say, just say no, and I forget what the other lyrics were in the chorus, but it was good, but I thought we could do better with it, and I'm sitting in the recording studio at North Lake Studios in North White Plains, and I lived about an hour from there. And I'm sitting in the studio, and Chip comes walking in, and I'm doing a guitar solo on Rock Soldiers, and Chip starts going, rock soldiers come, rock soldiers go. So he came up with that just on the spur of the moment. And honestly, the song wasn't called Rock Soldiers at the time. Now that I think about it, it was called Just Say No. So we worked up that chorus, and it turned out great. And then we kind of rewrote the song a little to be less of a anti-drug song and more of just a fan song.